Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This is where I'm going over my cheat sheet for tomorrow's NASCAR race at Texas Motor Speedway. It's the AAA Texas 500. And before we continue, leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. I know the NASCAR season is dwindling down, but it's been a really fun season. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and have had a really good year with it. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at ChrisPennell16, and the spreadsheet I have that I build every single week, projections, rankings, all that good stuff. Links below in the description below for my Patreon, and I say we get right into it. So first off, let's go over some race and track info before we go down player by player, or I should say driver by driver. So this is the AAA Texas 500. This is at Texas Motor Speedway. It's just your regular oval 1.5 mile track, pretty much, just a cookie cutter 1.5 mile track. Nothing too special about it. And we do have 334 laps, so that is a lot more laps than we usually have on these 1.5 mile tracks. Usually we're in like the 200 range, so 334. So dominator points are going to be pretty important this week. We got 250 of them available. And really the only strategy and tips I have for this track, it's kind of just a boring kind of racetrack. 1 to 2 dominators, then we want our regular place differential guys, and then we're probably going to want one cheap guy. So just typical 1.5 mile track lineup building. So not really a lot to go over there. So let's just go over the drivers I like. So up top, it's not actually Kyle Busch this week. It's going to be Martin Truex Jr., who qualified 17th. He's 11,500. And he has always been very good at 1.5 mile tracks. If you look at his history here now, I will say a little bit of this is skewed because he did wreck one year, so he was, the average finish is obviously going to suck when you factor in someone that scored, finished in the 30s. But either way, he's averaging 50 DraftKings points per race here, average driver rating of near 100, average finish of 13.6. But again, that is skewed a little bit. He's in the top 5 20% of the time, which is a little bit lower than you'd think for someone like Martin Truex Jr., but he's in the top 10 60% of the time, top 15 80% of the time. He's going to move up. You're not going to get negative place differential here outside of something going horribly wrong in pit road or he gets caught up into a wreck. He's averaging 33 laps led per race here and 22 fast laps. So Martin Truex Jr., I think he's a fantastic play. I just don't like the price, but he does offer you place differential upside, and the dude has been dominant recently. So definitely like Truex here starting 17th. The only thing I wouldn't like really is the price tag, but it's whatever. If he ends up dominating the race, who cares what his price tag is? He's going to pay off his salary. Kyle Busch qualified 12th. He's averaging 60 DraftKings points per race here. Average driver rating of 101. Average finish of 12.4. Does have a win here in the past 5 races. In the top 5, 20% of the time, like Martin Truex Jr. Top 10, 40% of the time. Top 15, 60% of the time. Obviously, Kyle Busch, he's going to finish near the top most races. He's averaging 38 average laps led per race here. 34 fast laps, which is second only behind Kevin Harvick. So Kyle Busch, I think he's fine too. I'm probably going to mix and match these guys with Kevin Harvick because I'll tell you right now, I'm going to have a lot of Kevin Harvick. So if I want 1 to 2 dominators, I'll just pretty much probably mix and match with Kevin Harvick, or maybe I'll make some lineups with just Kevin Harvick and then build a whole bunch of place differential guys, but we'll see. I haven't tried to make a lineup yet, but definitely with Kevin Harvick in, then I'll probably just mix and match with the rest of these guys. And I probably, if you are new to the videos, green means dominators, blue means place differential, yellow means GPP, and orange means cheap drivers that I have interest in. All right, so anyway, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., they are fine. They're both probably not going to pay off, so I would probably switch between the two, but maybe they end up working out. I just really don't see 2 of them working out in the same lineup unless they both dominate the race, but I feel like we need Kevin Harvick in there, so I'm probably just picking one of the 2 between those guys. Denny Hamlin, he qualified 3rd. I'm not going to be too high on him this week just because I'm going to have a lot of Kevin Harvick, and qualifying 3rd, he's pretty much going to have to dominate the race, and I think he's going to have to do it early on, which I really don't see happening because Kevin Harvick is an absolute god here. But Denny Hamlin's numbers are not that great here either. He's only averaging 26 DraftKings points per race here, average driver rating of 83, average finish of 18.6. Again, that's skewed a little bit, but still does have a win here in the past 5 races. Top 5, 40% of the time, top 10, 40% of the time. Now, when I say he's not that good here, I mean comparatively to some of the guys that are up here. I mean, obviously he's great. He's a great driver here. So Denny Hamlin, I like him, but I'm definitely going to be lower on him than I would be someone like Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, those kind of guys. But I think he's definitely in play for building multiple lineups. I'll tell you right now, he won't make my main lineup when I build for single entries. But, in larger tournaments, if you're building 20 to 100 lineups, maybe you want to put Denny Hamlin on a few because he's been very good this year. So wouldn't mind him. But my favorite play of the week, and he's actually my highest projected driver of the week and my highest projected value of the week, because I just think he's going to dominate this race. We have Kevin Harvick coming in on the pool, 10,400. I don't understand why he's not the most expensive driver on here. He is absolutely dominant here. He's averaging 87 DraftKings points per race at Texas. Average driver rating of 123.7, which blows all other drivers out of the water here. Had a ceiling driver rating of 146.4. Average finish is it's just elite. 3.2. That is insane. Second is what? Joey Logano at 7.2. So 3.2 average finish from Kevin Harvick here. He loves Texas. He has 2 wins in the past 5 races here. He's in the top 5 80% of the time, top 10 100% of the time. He has 379 laps led and 251 fast laps in the past 5 races here. He's averaging the most laps led at 76 and the most fast laps at 50.2. And he has an average running position of 5.6, which is best out of all drivers. So Kevin Harvick, he's my number 1 play of the week. He will be on my main lineup. He'll probably be my highest owned driver in general. So Kevin Harvick, he is my dude this week. The only way I don't see this working out, if something terrible happens on pit road, or I don't know. I don't see how it doesn't work out. I think he dominates the early portion of this race, and as long as he gets it back on track out in pit road, he should be just fine. So Kevin Harvick, I like him a lot. 10,400. He's not even the most expensive guy on the slate, which I love. Chase Elliott, you got to fade someone up here. I say it every week. I can't tell you guys to play every single one of these drivers. So Chase Elliott's going to be the one I will not have any probably ownership of. Maybe if you're building a whole bunch of lineups, maybe you get a couple in. But personally, I don't want to play too much Chase Elliott this week. It's not like he's awful here. He has an average finish of 9.4, which is fine. Average DraftKings points per race at 54.5. But he's not been in the top 5 0% of the time in the past 5 races, top 10 60% of the time, so he's going to move up. I just don't think he dominates this race, and when I'm paying 10,100 for someone, and I don't want to just place differential from them. Now, if they're starting like in the 30s, yeah, I'll take that, but starting 14th, I don't think there's too much upside here. I don't think he's going to outscore Kevin Harvick. I don't think he's going to outscore Joey Logano personally. So Chase Elliott, probably not someone I'm going to be too high on this week. Joey Logano, though, I think he makes a lot of sense this week. I think he's going to go a little bit lower owned, but he's been very, very good at 1.5 mile tracks this year, and just in general, he's been very good at Texas. He's averaging 50 DraftKings points per race here, average driver rating of 103.4, average finish of 7.2. He was doing very well last race, but Denny Hamlin ended up hitting him into the wall. A little bit worse day than he could have. He looked like I had a top 5 car near the end of the race, but ended up having that tire issue. But yeah, he looked fine. And average finish of 7.2, that is second best out of all drivers here. Does not have any wins, but he's in the top 5 40% of the time, top 10 80% of the time. So chances are he's going to move up. He knows how to get up front. So he's averaging 20 laps led per race here, 7.8 fast laps, has a really good average running position of 8, which is second best out of all drivers. So Joey Logano, I like him a lot. I think Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano could be a pretty good pairing. It doesn't break the bank either. So if you like pair Kevin Harvick with someone like Martin Truex Jr., that's a pretty big chunk of your lineup for your salary just from those 2 drivers. But Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano, I think that's a pretty nice combo there. Kevin Harvick leads the early portion of this race. Joey Logano comes on late, maybe leads the second portion of that race. I don't mind that at all. Joey Logano is very good here, so I do like Joey Logano. Definitely want to get some shares of him. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have, but he's definitely near the top of my list for drivers I want to own as potential dominators behind Kevin Harvick. So I do like Joey Logano. Brad Keselowski, I'm probably not going to have too much of him, if any. I mean, average finish of 18.4, again, skewed from some wrecks. So a lot of these numbers might be skewed from wrecks that you see have a really low average finish. But it's not like he's terrible here. He's in the top 5 20% of the time, top 10 40% of the time. But again, I just don't see myself playing him qualifying 8th. I don't think he's going to really dominate this race, averaging 23 DraftKings points per race here. Brad Keselowski, I'm going to pass on. Ryan Blaney, I think he's a pretty good play this week, 9,400. He's a very expensive place differential play, but he knows how to get up front too at Texas. He's led laps before. He's averaging 49 DraftKings points per race here. Average driver rating of 110.4, which is second best out of all drivers. So that's only behind Kevin Harvick. Ryan Blaney is very good at Texas. This is one of his best tracks. Average finish of 12.4. He's in the top 5 40% of the time, top 10 60% of the time, top 15 80% of the time. I like Ryan Blaney, and honestly, if you want to just use Kevin Harvick and then play Ryan Blaney as your next highest priced driver, and then maybe hope he gets up front, I like that too, and he offers us place differential as well. So Ryan Blaney, I like him a lot. Kyle Larson, not going to have any of him. Average finish of 23.4 here. He is in the top 5 40% of the time, though, so that is it's not like he's bad here whatsoever. It's just I don't see myself playing too much of him. I think he could be more of a GPP play, a pivot off of Ryan Blaney, because I do think Ryan Blaney is going to have some ownership this week. But Kyle Larson, I don't absolutely hate, but I just don't see myself having too much of him because I do prefer Ryan Blaney. And I take a more aggressive approach. I don't try to have exposure to a whole bunch of drivers. I just kind of I put heavy exposure on the drivers I like, and then I'll just mix and match my exposure on lower drivers. But I go really heavy on the guys I like. So Ryan Blaney, probably going to be pretty heavy on him tomorrow. Kurt Busch, he's a GPP play. He's actually pretty good at Texas. Average DraftKings points per race here at 47. Average driver rating of 100. Average finish of 8.4. He's in the top 10 100% of the time. Only problem is he hasn't top 5 in the past 5 races here. Now, he knows how to get up front. The only thing is I don't think he's going to pass Denny Hamlin. I don't think he's going to get past Kevin Harvick. So I don't think he dominates the race. And a 9K starting 4th, there's not a lot of upside here if I don't think he's going to get up front. But if he does get up front, that's going to be great. I just don't see it happening. That's why I have him at the GPP play. Clint Boyer, I think he makes a ton of sense this week. He qualified 24th, averaging only 24 DraftKings points a race here. Not the best, but average finish of 16.8. It's where he qualified, really. He's gotten the top 5 in the past 5 races here. Top 10, 40% of the time. Top 15, 60% of the time. Chances are he's going to move up. In 8,800, I like that. It doesn't need to do much to... Well, I shouldn't say he doesn't need to do much to pay off value, but he can definitely move up some spots and get a top 10. I don't think a top 5 is out of the question. It's a little, it's a little out there, but I do think he can top 10 for you, starting 24th. Jimmy Johnson, I like him quite a bit too. He qualified 23rd, averaging 34 DraftKings points per race here. Average drive rating about 83. Average finish of 16.6. Does have a win here in the past 5 races. And he's in the top 5 40% of the time. That's pretty darn good for Jimmy Johnson. I believe he was in the winning lineup last Texas race where he started in the pole and lit some laps, and I believe he finished 4th. So Jimmy Johnson, he is pretty darn good at Texas, so I like him at 8,600. Eric Jones is a GPP play in case he gets ahead of Harvick early on. Other than that, I don't think it's going to work out for you, but just in case he does, GPP play only. Qualified 2nd, average DraftKings points per race here at 52. That's pretty good. That's like top 3 or top 4 out of all drivers. Average finish of 8.8. He's in the top 5 60% of the time, top 10 80% of the time. Yeah, I like Eric Jones. I think he can get you a top 5 here, but the only way I think it works out for you is if he ends up leading some laps, which it might be out of the question. Alex Bowman, pass, not very good here. William Byron, 8,000. He qualified 18th. He's actually popping up as one of the better values for me. He has an average DraftKings points per race here at 42.25, average drive rating of 85.6, average finish of 10.7. He's in the top 10 67% of the time. I think he makes sense as a nice place differential play. Ryan Newman, not very good at Texas whatsoever, but the qualifying time did pull me in a little bit. Not too high on him, but he did qualify 25th. Only averaging 21 DraftKings points per race here, though. Average finish of 20.4. Top 15, 20% of the time. Yeah, he kind of sucks here, but qualifying 25th, I think he can move up a little bit. MDB and Almirola, they qualify too high for me. Paul Menard, I think he's fine. I know he did wreck one race, so that average finish is skewed a little bit, but 24.2, but he's only 7,300, qualified 31st. He should be able to move up. I'm not in love with it, but he should be able to move up. Daniel Suarez qualified a little too high for me. Austin Dillon qualifying 21st. I hate Austin Dillon. I say this every week, but it looks like he might be in play this week. Average finish of 19.2. He's in the top 10, 20% of the time. Top 15, 60% of the time. So chances are he's going to move up. And 7K, I don't mind him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is pretty good at Texas, but he qualified way too high for me. Chris Buescher, I think he's probably going to finish right around where he started, averaging 29 DraftKings points per race here. Qualified 20th, average finish of 20.2. I don't think there's a lot of upside there. Ty Dillon qualified a little bit higher than I would have liked him to. If he would have qualified pretty far in the back, I would have had some interest in Ty Dillon. He's got a really nice average finish here of 19.4. 6,500, but the problem is he qualified 19, so I think he's probably going to finish right around where he does, or maybe even farther back. Ryan Preece has only had one race here, but he did qualify 28th, and he finished 22nd here last race, so I think that's fine at 6,400. Daniel Hemrick, you can't really go by these numbers because it was his first race, but averaging negative 14 DraftKings points a race here, really can't go off of that. So, but still not someone I have too much interest into at whatsoever. Qualifying 16th. Bubba Wallace is pretty good at Texas. He's in the top 10, 33% of the time, averaging 25 DraftKings points a race here. Average finish of 18.7. If he qualified not way farther back, but at least a little bit farther back, I would have a lot of Bubba Wallace. But qualifying 22nd, that does make him risky. But he's been very good at Texas, coming off a really nice race last race out at Martinsville, where he finished 13th. So maybe he's coming a little hot. Bubba Wallace, don't mind him. Not in love with it though, because he did qualify 22nd, so there is risk there. But I think he's fine. Corey LaJoie. Yeah, the average finish doesn't look pretty, but I believe he got a top. I think he finished 28th last race, qualified 33rd. He's been pretty solid this year. He was really solid last race, so I don't hate him. That's what I'm in love with. But I'm not in love with any of these cheap guys. They're kind of just fill-ins and hope for the best. Cross your fingers for these guys. Michael McDowell, 5,700. He's pretty good at Texas. Average finish of 20.4. Average DraftKings points per race here at 25. Qualified 27th at 5,700. Yeah, I'll take some stabs at that. David Reagan, not too interested in. Ross Chastain's fine. Not a lot of upside here. Qualified 35th, average finish of 26.3. He's probably going to move up, but not a lot. Parker Kligerman qualified 30th, average finish of 29, average DraftKings points race here of 19. Again, these are just filling guys, so you get what you pay for, but just hope for the best and hope you nab your dominators, hope your place differential guys go well, and hopefully these guys don't make too much of a difference for you in your lineups. But I think that's going to be it. I don't really have too much interest in anyone else, so I think I'm going to leave you guys with that. If this video was helpful, remember to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I wish you guys the best of luck.